So a gravel bike, huh, Will?
Yeah, I'm on the wrong bike.
So wait, tell me why you're on a gravel bike at a race that you have no business riding a gravel bike in.
Well, on this team, Miami Knights with the NCL, and
Wait, which
yeah,
team?
we had not the Miami Knights, which
Doesn't ring a bell.
well, it won't in the future either. The team has unfortunately collapsed, but at this point we hadn't received our bikes and we didn't know the state of affairs. So on the only bike I had, which was a gravel bike.
Gnarly. We're going to talk more about that, how it handles, how it feels, and why it's maybe not the best decision to race a gravel bike in a pro-level crit, which is what we're talking about today. This is the Sunny King Criterium. Is it Alabama? Remembering that right? I've never done this race.
Yep, Anniston, Alabama.
Four-corner, ripping fast, a little bit of a hill. That's going to be a factor. It's like not even really a hill. It's like a 2% drag up to the finish line, right?
Yep, yeah, it's grippy.
30 miles an hour, I'm guessing. 31 miles an hour average on a gravel bike. What? Let's dive into the footage. Let's find out how it goes. Okay, but not before first mentioning the sponsor of today's video, which is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is this online platform that connects you with a licensed therapist. It's super easy, you guys. First, check out the link in the description. Help support this channel. BetterHelp.com/NorCalCycling. Spend a few minutes answering some basic questions, and then just like that, you're connected with a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. The good news is you can do all of this from your phone, your computer, a phone call, a video chat, even text messaging if you want. Whatever's most comfortable for you. What they do is they eliminate the barriers between you and finding mental health support. Look, we take care of ourselves physically. We're diligent about our nutrition, our training. We think way too much about our equipment in this sport. One thing we don't talk about is our mental health, which is a huge component of achieving a high level of endurance success. So that's why I think it's a good fit for the channel. And if you agree, I urge you to check out the link in the description. Thanks again to BetterHelp. Now back to the content. Okay, so if you're not racing for the Miami Knights, who are you racing for, Will?
Right, I'm taking yet another guest ride spot on a team called Velocious Sport, my local team, and our plan is really just to light it up with the limited numbers we've got. So we've got like 3 dudes that can really make a difference in this race, and this is my favorite race to do that. So right now I'm just waiting my time, trying to take advantage, and this is the opportunity for me to do that. So I see this little hole open, little lull in the field, and here we go. Drop 1,000 watts, get some distance, and unfortunately I'm on my own right now, but gonna make it work.
Power up that diesel motor, that big ol' gravel diesel motor. Did it feel a bit sluggish? Like, what did the bike feel like? I mean, you're on road tires, but it's still a gravel bike with gravel geometry.
Right, yeah. In fact, I'm on smaller tires than when we did that last video. I'm on 28, so tiny tires. The kick on this bike, like once you start accelerating, terrible. Like it just flops underneath you. Once you get up to speed, I didn't really notice a big difference, but until you got up to speed, it was a problem.
Which for crit racing, like that snap and that acceleration is kind of consequential, right? And if you have a bike that's not designed for that, like you said, it just kind of feels like a wet noodle underneath you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that'll play into later in the race, too, when those efforts matter.
All right, your solo bid didn't work, Will, but that didn't discourage you. You're up in the mix. And look, I don't want to speak for you. I watched the live stream of this race. It seemed like you guys were hungry for the breakaway. There were only a few of you. It really seemed like you and Gage Hecht were the only ones like really, really active off the front. And there's a huge field. There's like 120 riders, you said, in this field, right?
Yeah, this is the biggest field I've ever raced at Sunny King, and specifically this team on the front here, Rainstorm Racing, they've got like 4 of the fast finishers in the entire field, so we're scared of them. We don't want them to be in the break, but we know we're going to have to take at least one of them in the break with us.
And there you go, hulking that gravel bike underneath you, and you're not solo this time. You see something up the road, and now I kind of like this plan. I remember friend of the channel, Glenn from the Netherlands, Dutch guy that we used to have on and talk through those crazy Dutch races. He would talk about this pretty cool strategy where, hey, let the break get established, bridge across to it. And if you have the horses to back that up, I think it's a great technique. Now, I'm not saying that's what you did, but that seems like the way this is shaping up because now you're coming across to a ready-made breakaway. Is that the plan?
That is exactly what I was hoping for. I remember Danny Holloway actually talking about this race, saying it's tricky to get that like surgical precision on when to get into breakaways. You can just like keep hitting the race hard to make a breakaway happen, but you're going to be tired. And right here, I was so happy with this surgical precision to get to this breakaway. Used all the matches I had to get to it, and man, I thought it was going to work perfectly, but I think there were just a few too many guys to make a break work in this instance.
Yeah, I was going to say you were at 181 beats per minute, and look, we've done a lot of races together. I've seen a lot of your footage. I don't know if I see your heart rate go much higher than that, Will.
No, it takes a lot of elevation usually to get my heart rate any higher than that, and yeah, I'm feeling it here. I'm a little cross-eyed. There's no way I'm pulling through with them, at least for another 2 laps.
But you've made it. Congratulations.
Don't give me too much credit, because as soon as I got there, they sat up, we got caught, but eye on the prize, we're trying to get into a breakaway, and here I am making another bridge attempt. These groups just keep going at Sunny King. Like, it's a very attritional race, but in a weird way that everybody still gets to the finish together. So we don't have like a field sprinter. We had Cade last year. There's no way that I'm going to be able to contest a field sprint on a bike that isn't a noodle. So we still got to make this breakaway happen, and that's going to be our best shot, is just continuing to be represented in these moves. And a lot of that is going to fall onto me being at the front and being in as much as I possibly can, hoping one of them sticks.
This is always so rough when you're doing 32 miles an hour, 750 watts, and you're like not really closing the gap. Like, it just looks so hard. 179 beats per minute, still 20 Ks left in this race. How many more of these efforts can you do, Will? Let's find out.
I didn't have enough, Jeff, and I missed the crucial break. You can see it right here forming, the perfect composition of Rainstorm Racing, and they had 2 guys, Brian Gomez, Alfredo, both can win this race from a field sprint. Gomez just hit it on the front, fully committed for Alfredo, and took this break out to like 15-20 seconds within a lap or 2. It was amazing. Simon Daniels in the breakaway too for Butcher Box, so most of the teams are not going to be willing or able to pull it back, and our team too. We had Nico and Gage both trying their best to represent these breaks, but the 3 of us are just gassed at this point, so we miss this one, and it goes to the finish.
Yeah, and as a testament to how fast that breakaway was going, Simon Daniels actually ends up getting dropped. Simultaneously, you can see Ty Magner, one of the classiest bike racers around. He hits the front super hard, and he sees the threat up the road. Is it enough to bring things back? Well, the answer is no. And just about a couple of kilometers later, what are you thinking at this moment, Will?
Yeah, we still have to stick to this plan. We know the break is established. 2 guys really want it to happen, and I have to get there. I have to make a bridge just like I had tried before. Only this time the stakes are higher, and I'm a lot more tired.
And you got that wet noodle underneath you, but it's not slowing you down. I like that you're committed, like objectives, right? You guys are like, we're gonna make the break. That's our best chance in this race, so you keep trying. Also, shout out for pulling the GoPro up. Bro move. Thank you for that. Drop a like if you like Will pulling the GoPro up for us viewers at home right now. But you're going to try to make it across 15 Ks to go. They are rotating nicely up the road. I could tell from the live stream, pulling up the GoPro yet again. What a bro. But you get countered. What a drag. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Michael Garrison, brother of Ian Garrison, who is on World Tour team. And in his own right, he is super strong. He had been animating the whole race, and he just perfectly counters this. He's gonna bridge to that move.
Last train. That was it. Final call. He was the last guy to make it up the road. And that was the break for the day. They get established. Let's check out how the end of this race plays out, both from the perspective of the lead breakaway group and from you. First, with the lead breakaway group, we have some pretty amazing footage here and commentary from Daniel Holloway, so I'll just let him take it over.
Still about a 15-second gap. Leaders now all 4 together. In the green is Michael Garrison. In yellow second wheel there is Brian Gomez. Third wheel is Alfredo. Rodriguez both in yellow, and fourth wheel there is going to be Roderick Asconga Diaz in the white. These guys are looking at each other. This gap can evaporate very quickly. They've got to be cautious here. Asconga Diaz is going to try to
Garrison's gone too far back. He can't let the rider in between him and Rodriguez. He has to be on Rodriguez going into the final two corners. That's too much ground to make up for a guy like that.
He's almost overly confident in his ability to come around. There's a kick. These guys are attacking into three. Balls move here as he got, oh my goodness, as he goes,
Unexpected.
as he dives into three. That's Roderick Asconga Diaz as he comes out of the saddle, but very quickly Rainstorm right onto the draft. This is becoming the lead out for Rainstorm Racing as Alfredo Rodriguez is there, and it looks like he may be leading out Brian Gomez. These guys now kicking to the line. Asconga Diaz trying to get there.
Mechanical.
Garrison unable to go. Garrison having a mechanical, unable to sprint. This is going to be Rainstorm Racing going 1-2 here tonight. The boys at the front, and they celebrate on time this year, securing themselves the win overall, going 1-2 here tonight at Sunny King Criterium.
So now from your perspective, Will, we're 4 laps to go, and what's going on in your head?
Yeah, I am still pretty committed to not field sprinting on my gravel bike. I don't like how it's kicking out of corners. I don't like how it's cornering. The bottom bracket's a lot lower, so I can't pedal through stuff. So I see this little lull. I know everybody's tired at this point, and I'm just going to keep sending it through. I know I can take this bottom corner pretty fast. The exit's fine for me. I know a lot of other people were conscious of that, but I'm just going to send it as hard as I can. There's 5 minutes left in this race maybe, so doing what I can to not sprint on this bike.
That's a VO2 effort, 5-minute VO2 effort. Just put your head down. It's like training day, buddy. Yeah, I saw from the shadow you're getting aero. And you're checking back. It looks like you have a passenger in the shadow. Do you remember who that was?
I do. I don't. They jumped onto me so fast. Ty Magner was talking about this too. It was just random people were marking things. Oh, there it is. First Internet Bank. He just marked me. And luckily he pulled through to maybe keep closing this gap down. And he would pull for a full lap here. I think we can watch him do it. Which I was totally fine to just hop on his wheel, and maybe I can jump across a little later.
And if there's one thing we learned in the last video I posted, which if you haven't checked out, it's pretty funny. Never give up. That's the title of the video. But in this case, never give up, because a breakaway that has 15 seconds or whatever it has now, it's not this insurmountable gap. And also, when you have a breakaway in a crit like this, or a road race for that matter, they could start playing games. And if you run into a situation where the cat and mouse games ensue, the front riders could get caught. It's totally not out of the question. So I like that you're staying on the gas here and staying in good position and just being opportunistic in this move. I think that's a good idea. I too would not necessarily be excited about sprinting on a gravel bike with not such great stiffness and not such great bottom bracket clearance, and really not the best for crit racing, especially in the final 200 meters. So I do like that move. And First Internet Bank, he's not riding particularly slow. I do see another shadow. I don't know if that's the whole field behind you. Do you remember looking back? Do you remember what was going on?
Yeah, whole field is strung out behind us. I was surprised that once Simon Daniels got dropped from the break, that ButcherBox didn't come up and contribute guys. I think everybody was just pretty cracked from this race. It was kind of warm, and maybe nobody really has raced together this year. It's the season opener for crits, so the tactics are still in need of honing.
Right, and because you had your California training camp with me earlier this summer, you are rearing to go, my friend. I kid. That Alviso race was critically important to your training, though. Yes, absolutely. That was actually, as we talked about before, the A race of the year, and it will be next year as well. The gauntlet's been dropped. You guys heard it here first. He's coming back to try to reclaim the Alviso crown, which I'm currently wearing. But in any case, we are a lap and a half to go, and fourth position. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to avoid a field sprint at this point, but I still don't see the breakaway. And as you guys know, at this point, we've already kind of reviewed that footage. It didn't end up getting brought back. Of course, Will, you don't know that at this point, but
right.
Still pretty fast. Are you thinking that you're going to contest the field sprint? Do you have a teammate around you? What's the plan?
Yeah, I don't like giving up in races. I'm going to as much as I can, I'm going to keep as far forward as possible. I don't want to finish in the pack because that gets sketchy. Not that the front isn't sketchy, but I know in this race you have to stay as far forward as you possibly can the whole time. You're going to get that wave at the end, but I'm just going to try and like stay up here, stay a little safer, spend energy. I know I have it, and hopefully hop on the right sprint train. And here is the right sprint train. They've got Danny Summerhill with Rainstorm. I don't think I can sprint him efficiently, specifically on a gravel bike, but I know he's a good wheel to be on at the end.
Well, let's talk about that because we're inside of the last lap here, less than a kilometer to go, and that sprint finish is a drag race. It's not your typical, like, head down 12 seconds, completely unload. It's a much more long, drawn-out sprint effort, which I think suits you under normal conditions. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I love a good long sprint at Tour de Gila. I usually would just like lead out Cade, and one year I like kicked from 400 meters, and unfortunately Cade wasn't on my wheel for that one, but I got like 4th or 5th in that race. So yeah, a long sprint I think is my best bet for most stuff, but that's going to mean into these last 2 corners I need to be like far forward to make that happen.
This is sketch too. It's really dark. There's like the car on course for some reason. I don't know what the promoters were thinking, allowing that to happen. That looked really scary. But we're past that now. We're final corner. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that speed back. David Gutenplan there chopped me on the inside, and I had to hit the brakes into that last corner. So this gap opens up. The noodle absorbed all my power, and I just go straight back.
Yeah, and when you're scrubbing brakes into the last corner, which I saw that little move that that Gutenplan did, nothing. I mean, he didn't do it on intentionally or anything, but it scared me a little bit too, and I'm sitting in a desk chair, so that was unfortunately it for your sprint. The gravel bike didn't do you any favors. But man, that was still an exciting one, and yeah, just because NCL is not really a thing and Miami Nights is certainly not a thing, that doesn't mean we're not going to have cool national level races for you guys on the channel. And more of Will. I love chatting with you, buddy. So get subscribed, and we'll catch you in the next one.